Have you ever observed someone whose life just seemed to be in such a difficult state, so much chaos, so much difficulty, their head barely above water, and you look and you think, that's terrible, but you don't know what to do? Or perhaps their situation just seems so difficult that they need so much that you really don't believe that there's anything you can do that's going to make a difference. And so you do nothing. Think about that. You don't know what can make a difference. And if there's something you can do, no matter how small, do it. Hi, it's Margaret Maloney, and welcome to the Death Dhamma podcast. I'm a Buddhist practitioner out here in the world, having experienced the loss of my loved ones and knowing how much my Buddhist practice helped me on my grief journey. And now, together, we have this safe space to discuss death, dying, grief, and the Buddhist teachings that help us really understand attachment, impermanence, being compassionate, being death ready, what it means to live a life so that we can have a peaceful death. Yep, it's a big topic, and we're going to take it on together. Let's go. Have you ever experienced a time in your life where you were so overwhelmed that even simple things like brushing your hair, getting dressed, putting away clothing, doing laundry, and doing dishes just became unbearable, unimaginable, and so everything piled up? I hope that you haven't, but many people have. And today we're going to learn the story of one woman who couldn't face looking at her dirty dishes one more day. Now, no one in this story is Buddhist as far as I know, but what they are humans. And as we know, humans experience suffering, and other humans often have the ability to help with that suffering. And sometimes the smallest of acts can make the biggest of differences. And that's what we're listening to and why we're listening to this story today. This is the story of an anonymous neighbor who helped someone who was over her head, someone who felt like her life as a single mom was just completely hopeless. And this story comes from NPR, from a series called My Unsung Hero, originally posted March 7th, 2024, and I'm happy to share it with you today. And the story goes like this. When Bethany Renfrey was 20 years old, she and her 3 young daughters lived in a low-income apartment in California. She was a single mother, and life was overwhelming. One cold morning, as she went into her kitchen, she looked at the sink piled high with pots and pans and dishes. She says, those pots were caked in grease and burnt because I actually didn't really know how to cook very well at that time. So I'd always be burning our pans with eggs or other things. Her 18-month-old twins sat in their high chairs, their cheeks covered with jelly. Her youngest was just a month old. When her eyes returned to the sink, a feeling of hopelessness washed over her. I just couldn't bring myself to do those dishes. And I couldn't look at them any longer. It was a reminder of how overwhelmed I felt in my own life, she remembered. So she grabbed a garbage bag and she filled it up with all the dirty dishes. She dragged it outside to the trash, but the trash was full. So she left that bag full of all her dirty dishes on the edge of the dumpster. Then she packed up her kids and left for the day because that's what she had to do. When she got back at the end of the day, it was dark, and her porch was dark because she said, I didn't even have the energy to change the porch light. So, she said, as I was coming in, I kicked something. It was a box. So she brought the box inside and set it on the table. She had no idea what was inside that box. It was her pots and pans, and they were shining and sparkling, and all of her dishes were in there too, and everything was clean. And there was a note, a little note popped out on a yellow piece of paper, And it said, "I've been there before. You will make it. I promise you." To this day, she doesn't know which one of her neighbors washed and returned her dishes. She assumed maybe it was one of the other single moms in the complex. And she says, "If I saw her today, I would thank her for showing me that we are not alone and we are not bad mothers, even in our hardest moments. We are surrounded by kindness and understanding. And I am so grateful to have learned that lesson so early on in motherhood." So this lesson doesn't have to be about moms, but what it is a reminder. You might see someone who's struggling, and you might be able to do something simple. And again, not that doing dishes is fun or amazing, and certainly it took time. But this person who went and rescued the bag of pots and pans and dishes from the trash had the time and the energy and the understanding, the empathy, the compassion to see the suffering, be moved to take action and to take the action, knowing what a difference it was going to make. That this person saw how hopeless Bethany was feeling, right? Think about being in that position where she felt so hopeless that the best answer for her was to throw all of those things away. And that was going to give her definitely like a momentary good feeling, right? That empty sink with no more dirty dishes. But then what was she going to have? She was going to be a single mom with 3 small children and no pots and pans and no dishes and probably no money to buy new dishes. So somebody saw this and somebody saw her despair and someone came to the rescue. And they didn't feel the need to say, "Hey, this is, Samantha over in 3B. They just did it. And what a reminder for all of us that we can see someone who's carrying a heavy load and we can help with the suffering of that heavy load. We can't maybe take on all of the heavy load. We might not be able to help with everything they need. But if we look and we watch, because in this story too, there's the awareness. Somebody saw her. Somebody saw her in her moment of suffering, and someone saw a way to alleviate that suffering. And that is the spirit of being a human who's out there in the world helping others gain release from suffering. And that's it for today. I just wanted to bring that story of that unsung hero. And feel free to send me your stories and point me in the direction of other stories so that we might all learn and be inspired to become those who help others gain release from their suffering. I've got books for you, starting with Carpooling with Death, How Living with Death Will Make You Stronger, Wiser, and Fearless, the book that got me going and helped me to discuss going through the death of my loved ones, followed by Sitting with Death, Buddhist insights to help you face your fears and live a peaceful life, based on Season 1 of the Death Dhamma podcast, and just recently, Enlightenment Unleashed, how your pet can lead you to spiritual transformation, because during our lifetime, we may see the rising and ceasing of many pets, and we love them like they are our family. Find these on Amazon.com or come see me at MargaretMaloney.com. You've been listening to the Death Dhamma podcast with your host, Margaret Maloney. Thank you so much for being here. Come find me on MargaretMaloney.com, MargaretMeloni.com. And until we meet again, may you be well, may you be happy, may you be at ease, and may you be free from suffering. Bye for now.